Welcome to Better Credit, Better Home, your source for the latest local and national news that can impact you if you are in the market for real estate. Here are your hosts, the Kingwood mortgage guy, Mike Durr, who uses his 25 years as a mortgage professional to help people improve their credit, and Joe Salas, an accomplished home inspector, real estate agent, and trainer of new agents for Byrd Property International. Together, they will help you understand what you need to know to get the most out of your real estate investment. Let's get started.
Well, we are not together today. Joe, I know he was out on vacation all of last week, as was I, but I haven't heard from him today, so I'm sure he'll be back. But today it's just going to be me. But I do have some good information for you, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. My name is Mike Durr. I call myself the Kingwood mortgage guy, and we like to talk about real estate in and around Houston Metro. We also talk about some of the national stuff. And we'd love for you to tune in. We show up here every Tuesday afternoon about 5 o'clock. Bearing some disaster, we might not be here, but we're usually here, and we've been here for the last year and a half. And we'd love to talk about real estate. So what we're going to cover today is buying new construction, 5 common mistakes. And I picked up an article out of Bankrate, and like to give them credit for that. But anyway, what's going on in the market right now is there are a lot of people that are not selling their homes right now because we call it loan lock. They're loan locked. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that means that builders are having a heyday right now. And as a matter of fact, the builder sentiment is up substantially. They're very optimistic about what's going on in this market because there are a lot of people going to new construction to buy their homes because they're available and they can go in and they don't have to compete with 15 other buyers for the homes. And we talk about this a lot, is that there's a shortage. Oh, what's this? This looks like Tim King's come to join us.
Hey, good.
What's up, Tim?
Good evening.
Hey, well, thank you for showing up today. Tim King and I go way back. He is a professional appraiser in town, and I think that he offers a very different kind of slant on what's going on in real estate.
Sure.
So anyway, if you want to chime in, if you're out there watching and you want to chime in, give Tim a question. The questions should come up right over here, so I should be able to see those if they come in through one of the either YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, I think is where I've got this thing posted. So, Tim, what's going on with you, man? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
What's cooking? Yeah, this week is continuing education. You know how that goes.
Love that. That's always fun.
Every 2 years we have to do this. 4 days.
Wait a minute. Did you say every 2 years?
Yeah,
we got to do ours every year.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How many hours do you have to take?
100. No, I don't know. It's
That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah,
so it's
hours.
keeping us smart and up to date with what's going on. So, kind of glad to do it.
Gotcha. Well, cool. All right. Well, I sent you a copy of the presentation I was doing. I was just talking about new builds and what's going on.
Sure.
The big thing is that there are a lot of people that are what I call loan locked, and I don't think I coined that phrase or anything. Mm-hmm. But what's going on is, well, I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but a lot of people are moving to new construction, and this part of the presentation talks about 5 common mistakes that people make that they just don't know. I mean, a lot of times when you're a first-time home buyer, you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And so we're going to stop that. We're going to help you out right now by giving you some of the 5 mistakes to avoid. And so the first one is, don't assume you can't negotiate with the builder, right? So, and one of the main reasons that we reached out there, a lot of people just go to a development, a new home development, and they just walk in there and there's a salesman for the builder, and he just grabs you by the hand and he'll take you around and show you all that kind of stuff. And I mean, he is being paid by the builder to show you all the cool stuff that they offer.
Sure.
The problem with that is he is being paid for by the builder. He is fiduciary responsible to the builder. He's not responsible to you.
Right.
And so you're kind of like a lamb being led into the slaughter, I'd say. And maybe it's not that bad, but and some of them are good guys for sure. But there are those that don't tell you all the things that you need to know or don't negotiate for you. Have you seen that happen, Tim?
Absolutely. Yeah. We had talked about this actually today in class and on your show before. And really, they call them premiums or upgrades. And they're not always, what they say. Corner lots aren't always more valuable than a larger interior lot. I mean, little things like that, you just have to really pay attention to what the builder's saying, because they're like, Mike said, I mean, they're trying to increase maybe their commission. Maybe they get a little bit more, a little bigger cut per se, for selling this package in the kitchen, but it could be basically the same thing as what's standard. So, yeah.
Well, I think one of the key things is that if you go to this builder's homes with a realtor,
Mm-hmm.
they have to pay the realtor.
Sure.
And that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
they don't want to pay the realtor when they're already paying a sales guy.
Right.
And the good thing about you going with a realtor like Joe or any of the professional realtors that we work with,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to represent you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to ask the builder questions you never even thought about.
Right.
Because they've been doing that a long time. So that's
Smart.
a big one is
Yep.
don't go to these new build home developments and talk to their sales guys, because you kind of, if you go in there without the realtor the first time and you register or anything like that, then they won't let you come back with a realtor, or they won't pay the realtor, and the realtor won't come back unless they're getting paid, I'm guessing. I don't know. Joe might, he might not. I don't know. We'll see about that. But they talk about you can negotiate price, lot lines, loan fees, other things. A builder may say no, but if you don't ask, you don't know, right? So, all right. So here's another one. Is number 2 is budget for items not included by the builder. Well, at this point, you walk into a model home. It's got beautiful lush green grass. It's got a garage door opener on it. You walk in, it's been decorated by one of the top designers in Houston proper. I mean, these places look beautiful. And guess what? You don't get all that stuff. Matter of fact, there's a lot of stuff you don't get. They're pretty much blank slates. And this is an example. For instance, many new homes don't come with landscaped yards. Surprise, surprise. If you buy in a development with a homeowners association, you might have a limited window to put your yard or plant trees in. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway, there's a lot of these things in here. Let's see. Don't come with basic like window coverings, toilet paper holders. Gosh, we need those. Towel racks, sometimes even light fixtures. And you just need to clarify what is in their basic package before you try to close and move in.
Yep.
Here's one that I think is important, and I know a lot of people go in and like they just get led by the builder, but it says don't go. This isn't me. This is Bankrate. Don't go with the easiest lender option. The easiest lender option, many times, most of the bigger builders will take you and introduce you to their preferred mortgage company, which they own, which they also get paid on. And in the past, they offered incentives for you to use their lender. And they may still do that, even though, according to the article I read today, the incentives aren't as big as they used to be. And so you might want to ask about that. But the key thing you want to do is, just because it's easy and comfortable in those situations, it's a good idea to get an opinion from somebody else. Oh, am I raising my hand? Yeah. Well, it might be a good one to get right now. I'll be just as honest as I can be. I don't win all of them. Sometimes the builder's deal is too big to surpass. I mean, the incentive they've given is just too good. And you know what? I'll tell you that because I want the best for you. And obviously, I'd love to do your loan or be your advisor and all that kind of stuff. But I want you to get the best deal possible. And just a quick little story. My nephew, Justin, was buying a home down in League City. And the builder said, no, you got to use our builder. And he says, well, my uncle's a mortgage guy. And so They said, well, okay. But they said, what if we match it? Well, turned out that they not only gave him the incentives, but they matched the rate that I could give him. So he got the best of both worlds.
Mhm.
And that's one of those situations where it doesn't cost you anything to come to me and get a competitive offer. And you can take that to the builder and say, look, this is what I got. Can you beat it with the incentives? And it's a win-win for you. So I do not mind. I'd love to compete with the builders. And if I can win, then you win. And if they win, you still win. So that's a heck of a deal, isn't it, Tim?
So win-win
It's a win-win. We love those.
situation, sure.
All right. So let's go on to number 4. Beware of builder warranties and timelines. When you buy a new construction, let me do this real quick because we don't need this thing up right now. See if I can figure out how to do it. Oh, here. I'll take that down. Yeah, there we go. So builder's warranties you'll hear about, implied or express. Implied warranties cover potential defects and workmanship that impact the new home's habitability, livability, and safety based on local codes and standards. So you shouldn't have to worry about those kind. Some builders offer an express warranty, which is more precise wording than what is covered in the cutoff times. So again, when you're buying a home that is probably costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to know what they're going to cover and what they're not going to cover. And the builders have a standard package, but even in the standard package, it's a good idea to see what's in there. Just like when you buy a car these days, I mean, you could be spending $100,000 on a car. You better know what's in the warranty.
Sure.
I almost choke when I hear that because I told myself I'd never buy a car that cost more than my first house I bought. And I've already done that. So
Yeah.
yeah, stuff.
Yep.
All right. Number 5 is avoid upgrades that won't increase your value. So one final mistake to avoid: don't get caught up in customization. Options and add-ons can seem limitless when you
Right.
walk into the builder showroom. But before you go on an upgrade spree, it's wise to consider which ones will boost the home's value rather than merely making it look nicer. Now, who'd be a good person to ask about that besides a realtor, Tim?
Sure. I mean, that's kind of what I was just mentioning. They have their own. A lot of times, builders will put their own value on these upgrades, and you can oftentimes do much better. Building. Hiring somebody else after the sales transaction is done. But yeah, I mean, your basic stuff. Countertops and things like that. I mean, you can either start with something basic. I mean, bring it down to more basic and then do your upgrade later. But I mean, it's important to know that a lot of times they mark up some of the upgrades to the house, and that's why when they offer you that incentive at the end of the day, they've already kind of made their money on the upgrades that they sold you earlier. So just pay attention to that. I mean, I think it's important to kind of do, go to Lowe's, go to, some of these floor, places and just get price out some of the upgrades that you eventually might want in your home.
Yeah. Oh, and what I was saying, and there it is now. If with your permission, I'll let these guys call you.
Sure.
There's your number right there, 281-435-6858.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, he doesn't answer very often, but he calls you back.
Yeah. Okay.
But
It's true.
hey, you're busted, buddy. No, I got a nephew just like you. I still love him. Anyway, the problem is your realtor can help you, but Tim can help you because he's out there praising homes and he knows what gives those homes value.
Right.
And that's why that's a good thing. So
Sure.
Avoid the stuff that seems fluff and pay attention to the things that matter as far as the value of your home. So that's kind of the first thing. It says, bottom line, buying a new construction offers a lot of perks, but there are many pitfalls as well. So buyers should pay close attention every step of the way, and unless the help of an expert, either Tim or Joe, carefully consider all the pros and cons of new construction. There are a lot. I mean, I encourage you, just on the lending side, there's some things that happen. I was talking to one of my customers that the first time I met him, I bet it was 7-8 years ago, and he just kind of popped back in my life. and he was talking about new construction. And well, I tell you, there's a lot to know when you do that. So definitely get yourself a professional when you're going to go new home shopping. All right, so let's see what we got. Now, the other things we're going to cover, I was going to stop real quick though and do, I'm a Texan, right? I grew up in Texas, and I don't know where Tim's from. Where are you from, Tim? Don't tell me.
Okay. It used to be cool to say you were born in California.
Not so much anymore, dude.
Yeah. But I've been here since '79, so I pretty much got here as quickly as I could.
There you go. All right. Well, I'll accept that. So
Thank you.
I'm going to remove this again, but I've got crazy facts about Texas, and some of them I thought were pretty good. There's one Texas ranch. Okay. Here's everything's always bigger in Texas, right? Well, when you think of Texas, you're probably thinking of the big Tex. You're thinking of the cowboy boots and stuff. But there's one Texas ranch that's bigger than the entire state of Rhode Island.
Wow.
Is that something else?
Wow. Yeah.
It goes on to talk details. I'll go through them quick. One Texas town rescheduled Halloween because it conflicted with a football game. That's real. It's illegal to milk somebody else's cow in Texas. So don't be milking my cow, Tim.
Now, you know what? No worries there.
There's a dialect of German that's only spoken in Texas. So, and it turns out that Texas,
Bronzeville, Fredericksburg, very, very German.
Yeah, this is a very German state. All right, this is a big one. There's only one place called Earth in the world, and it's located in Texas.
Oh, is that right? Earth, Texas?
Yeah,
oh,
Earth, Texas.
Okay.
Six Flags theme parks owe their name to Texas history.
Huh.
Texas once went 10 years as an independent country. Texas is more than twice the size of Germany, so forget Rhode Island. We're twice the size of Germany. Texas has its own Pledge of Allegiance. U.S. this is cool. The U.S. has 3 power grids, one for the East, one for the West, and one for Texas.
For Texas.
Austin has the most live music venues per capita in the U.S. That's kind of cool for Austin.
Interesting, yeah.
You know what the word Texas means?
Ooh, Tejas, Texas. No, like in no.
It means friends.
Okay.
That's why people in Texas are friendly.
Nice.
There you go. Friends.
Sure.
Oh, here's another big one. Dr. Pepper was made and is a Texas native. Have you ever had a Dr. Pepper?
I have had a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, they're good. They were just out of Waco. I think it was I forget the name of the little town they're in. Sure. You can thank Texas for Whole Foods and 7-Eleven. Now, for some of the people that have recently moved to Texas, they won't know what 7-Eleven is or Whole Foods. So, too bad.
7-Elevens have made a comeback too.
Yeah, they have.
I have a friend of mine who builds them.
The State Fair of Texas boasts the largest Ferris wheel in North America.
Okay.
Austin is home to the world's largest urban bat colony. Now, I don't know if they're the rural or urban. Obviously, they're urban.
Urban. Oh,
I don't want about any urban bats.
Yeah.
There's nothing like authentic Tex-Mex.
Oh, this is truth right there.
Now, this one's not authenticated, but it says the hamburger was invented in Texas. I'm not saying if that's right, but here's a big one. The Texas state capitol is 15 feet taller than the U.S. Capitol.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, man.
15 feet. Come on, we'll take it.
Oh, here's number 25. I didn't list them all, but Texas is the fastest growing state in the United States. How about that? Yeah, baby.
Yeah. That's nice.
Boom. Drop the mic.
And the Houston Rodeo, I think, breaks some records too, like the largest rodeo or something like that.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the Houston Rodeo, it is huge.
One of the best rodeos in the country for sure.
Okay, so this is the other things we're going to talk about. Single family starts post solid gains. That's big news. Mortgage credit availability falls. That's not good news. Housing market has a 6% problem. That's kind of interesting. Audit shows Mr. Cooper bungled the pandemic relief. If anybody has their mortgage serviced with Mr. Cooper, you'd want to hear this. I'm not a Mr. Cooper fan, or I'm not somebody that advocates them either. They're just a big mortgage servicer that's out there, and the article makes it sound like they really messed this up, but they have a retort. So I'm going to give you both sides of that story. I'm not just going to give you the one side of it. I'm going to tell you about the $4,000 grant program, and so let's get this puppy going here. Let's see, open that. All right, we talked about 5 mistakes. We're going to get past that. This is the single family starts. Now, this surprised people. Of course, this Tuesday is the first day of this week for most of the working group in the mortgage industry, because yesterday was Juneteenth. And that's all I'm going to say about Juneteenth. But the reports came out today. And on this chart, single family starts and builder confidence, this is made up of, if I'm not mistaken, you look at the solid line are single family starts. The other one is the multifamilies. So these are the two constructions and the builder confidence level. And what it shows here is you can see this 2020, the builder's confidence was way low, and then it skyrocketed up to crazy levels. And then in 2022, that's probably about May of 2022, it just kind of fell flat. There was also this period in here was probably COVID related, where they couldn't get supplies. There were probably people there, they just couldn't build right then, but their confidence was low. So we dropped back down, anticipating that in 2023, the market was going to be slow. And now it's rebounded. Even in the multifamily, it's rebounded recently, because there's a lot of buyers still out there, and the mortgage rates do not scare them. They realize that buying a home is a good thing. So the market didn't anticipate this, so this was a surprise in this morning's market report. This is a chart basically doing the same thing, where the blue is the single family and the red is the multifamily. So these are basically, when you say multifamily, that means that they're apartments. And you can see that they're building more apartments than there are single family homes. And that's because they anticipate that a lot of people won't be able to afford to buy a house. Now, that's not great news, but it is what it is. Okay, waiting for home prices to fall. This is just my little cut in there. Maybe call this a commercial, if you will. Major home price turnaround in the 50 largest markets. This is what is saying that they anticipated that the home price was going to depreciate and that there wouldn't be appreciation in 2023. Well, last time we met, a week ago, we found that the reports have come in through May. That's not, yeah, I think the May reports, most of them, some of them are just out of April, but there's appreciation already starting. And you can see on the one says 96%. This is in November 2022. I'm pointing to this thing thinking you guys can see my finger. I guess you can't. Anyway, in November 22, 96% of people thought that homes were going to decline. And then we get to March of 2023, and 92% of I'm talking nationally, homes have increased in price. And so the thought process there is just kind of blowing everybody away. And part of it is because there's just not enough houses out there. And it's not that the interest rates definitely have a negative effect on the number of buyers that are in the market right now, but there's also a shortage of homes, and we're going to get to one of the other reasons why there's a shortage of homes in just a minute. This is it. Housing market has a 6% problem. Any idea what that means?
No. I'm interested in finding out, though.
All right, so here it is. 91.8% of people that have mortgages have a rate below 6%. So 91 out of 100, 91 people out of 100 have a rate that's
92,
lower than 6%.
Yeah.
82% have below 5%.
Wow.
62% have a rate that's below 4%. And then there's a chosen few who have rates below 3%.
It's crazy.
You wonder why people aren't listing their homes right now?
Right.
Because they don't want to go from a home, and unless there's an absolute need to move, they're going to hang on to that until rates come down.
Right.
So that's what's going on. And the problem with that, Tim, is it locks up a bunch of homes that people would normally be listing their home right now.
Oh, for sure.
Summer sales time, but they know that if they go into a house that's even equal, their payment's going to go up by $1,000, even
Gosh.
more. So that is loan lock, people. And until rates come down, it's just not going to change. I mean,
Yeah.
there will be some normalcy back to the market at some point.
Right.
And actually, I think it's starting right now. I don't know. Has your business picked up any?
No, in fact, I had a pretty good last month. I mean, it was respectable, but yeah, this month is starting off super slow when it comes to the Fannie Mae side of things. Yep, super slow.
The reason I called you a week or so ago, and this is just going out to everybody, but I want to tell you about it.
Yeah.
Have you signed up with UWM as far as being on their appraisal group?
No,
You need to do that.
I'd need to. Okay, I will.
You need to. Let me tell you why. Is they don't take a cut.
Okay.
They pay you the whole thing.
Okay.
And what they expect for that is you to do them quicker and faster.
Right.
And
which we can do. Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy for you not to be on that list.
I don't know if send me the link again if you wouldn't mind later.
Okay.
I don't remember. We're just the name. You said UBM. We can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, United Wholesale Mortgage.
Okay.
They're one of my favorite lenders. They're really good.
Gotcha.
Okay. So this is the story about Mr. Cooper and bungling the pandemic.
I've done a lot of work for Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, they're a big servicing outfit, and they have a retail operation. Here's the headline says audit finds servicers, and they list Mr. Cooper bungled pandemic mortgage relief. It said HUD Inspector General finds that 2/3 of the borrowers did not receive loss mitigation assistance. Now, I've talked to a lot of people that got they had forbearance. They asked for forbearance because during COVID they maybe lost their job or they had a lessened work schedule, and the government mandated that the servicers work with them so that they could get through that period and then get back and pay their mortgage. Well, if you're a Mr. Cooper customer and you want to read this report, I've got a copy of it here, and I'm glad to send it to you. All you'd have to do is just send me an email in some form or fashion. Email should be, well, you can call me actually, because I've got my phone number right there. But it talks about the number of people, and there were a lot of people that were affected by this. I'm talking millions of people that were affected by this and should have gotten better service. The problem was that the mandates were coming out of the FHA, HUD, like one after another, and they were not always as clear as they should be. So they were a little bit hard for the servicers to interpret them all and to transfer that information to the consumers. And that was the defense that Mr. Cooper had made, is we did pretty darn good considering the crap you were throwing down at us. And I believe that's the case. I mean, the government's not always that clear in what they want you to do. And then to get 40 or 50 different letters explaining what they were trying to do made it hard for some of these people to do that. Now, in Mr. Cooper's place, they should have had somebody that can interpret that stuff and be closely aligned to them. But bottom line is, if you have a axe to grind with Mr. Cooper or any of the servicers out there, you may get relief just because this report has come out. So
interesting.
I thought that was kind of an interesting deal.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, Americans' opinion of the best long-term investment in 2023. And I kind of went backwards on this, but if you go up to down, and I threw one in there too, but Tim, tell me this.
Guns.
There's a theory that our government wants to make all of our money, our assets, our money primarily, digital.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's out there. And the problem with that, I see, is that allows them control. And I mean, we know now, after seeing what the government's done the last 8 to 12 years or 15 years or whatever, is that they don't always like what we do as their public.
Sure.
And they try to control it a lot of times. And I'm not going to mention any specific things, but it's worrisome to see what the government's doing. And so I would say to anybody out there that listens to me, and I don't know if there's anybody that listens to me, but we would want to fight that. But if that were to happen and you had money to invest right now, what would you invest in?
I see where you're going with this. Yeah,
well, that's right, and that's what this list represents.
right.
Is real estate has been the top choice for the last 11 consecutive years, and probably a lot longer than that over the course of the last 50 to 70 years.
Right.
And for all, I mean, maybe for all of history, for all I know. We just know that real estate on this survey has been considered the top one. But you really have to think about the other one, because if you had $10,000, would you buy gold, stocks, savings, bonds, guns, food? You know, I mean, what would you do?
Right. Right. No, real estate is the American dream, and I think it is something that keeps its value very well. I mean, I think it's statistically, I think you're going to show that are right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does. According to this, you probably can't see it on this thing, but real estate was 34%.
Yeah.
Gold was 26. Stocks, mutual funds was 18.
Right.
Savings account 13%, and bonds were 7%. So maybe a mix of all. You know, it'd be funny to add this all up. I wonder if that's 100% right there. But that might be a good way to spread out your money.
Yeah, diversify a little bit. Sure. Yeah.
It's one of those things we have to worry about.
Yeah.
All right, so I put in the interest rates for today, and this is the good news is they're under 7%. 30-year 6.875 actually didn't fit on the slide. This is actually a chart of 1 year from the latter part of June in 2022, and this is rates were up, and then as this goes down, that means rates got even worse. Then they came back a little bit, and they've been kind of steady, and then they got worse, and then they got a little better, and then they got worse. It's like they've been bouncing, but this chart, the fact that it's this downward trend like that is not good. And really, the gurus that I listened to thought that it would be just the opposite. So, this is pretty steady. If it stays steady like that, we're probably okay. But boy, I tell you, we understood that rates were supposed to get better. And as a matter of fact, I still tell people that based on what the smart guys tell me, that rates will be in the 5s consistently, and possibly even the high 4s. Wow. Now, I don't know when that's going to be, but I do know that when that happens, obviously real estate's going to pick back up.
Pick back up for sure.
My concern about that is it's not going to be great for the consumer. It'll be good for sellers, but the problem with the consumers is the way Texas has grown. I see us going back to that multiple offers and people scrambling, and appreciation maybe going up to a point where people are paying tens and 20 thousands of dollars more than what the asking price is.
The asking price,
and it's not good for I don't think it's a good market for
it's artificial values. Yeah, we were talking about that today in class. Yep.
Yeah, it could be a problem.
Be careful with that. Yeah.
I'm going to put a plug in for this 4,000 credit towards your down payment and closing cost. This is a UWM program, and it's one of the best first-time homebuyer programs out there. Even though I don't think you actually have to be a first-time homebuyer. You may have to be, but this email address, or this is a website address, will tell you if the property that you're looking for is in this area. And most of the counties, this thing works. You can't make more than 80% of the median income, but right now 80% of the median income is $72,640, which allows. There's a lot of people that qualify in that. The better part of it is if you are a 2-income family and one of you makes that amount, we don't have to use the other borrower. So they've offered some flexibility to that. I just listed a couple of the more larger counties in and around here, but just about all the counties in Texas, not in North Texas. Anyway, I have the list. If you live in one of the smaller counties, call me. I've got a list that's got that information on it. And this is a great program. What it is they will give you $4,000 in credit towards your down payment up to Well, no, they'll give you up to $4,000 when you buy a home. Now, if you buy less than 200,000, they'll give you a little bit less. It's 2%, and the program is a 1% down. And then, of course, if it's a 200 or if it's $300,000 house, it might be not. It might be 1.5% down. But it's going to be a less of a down payment out there. So it's a really good program. Details of the 1% down, home buyer education, you have to take that. You have to have a 620 FICO score. Debt ratio must meet the Freddie Mac guidelines. Income is interesting and flexible. That's kind of what I described to you just a minute ago, where you can, if there are two borrowers, you don't have to use one of the borrowers. If you have overtime or commission income, you don't have to count it if you fit in there. So you use only the salary, not the commission. And I said that non-occupant borrowers are allowed. Aid from lender is capped at $4,000. So that's what that is. I talked to a guy just yesterday. The guy came to my office, and it's hard to find a home in that 175 to 250 range. There's just not a lot of them out there. They go so fast.
That's true.
The problem is they're competing with investors. Investors are buying those as rent houses. And so anyway, but this is what you want to look for, but they're hard, particularly if you're looking in the lower price ranges. When you get up in the closer to the $300,000, there's some bargains out there. What I tell all the people that I get a chance to work with, particularly the first-time home buyers, is you may want to look for a house that's got a few bumps and bruises on it. Don't look for a home that's brand new, move-in ready. Look for one. The best way I can describe it, you might comment on this, Tim. My suggestion is look for homes that have been on the market for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Those are homes that people didn't buy them on that first flock that they went in there. They found something that they didn't like about that house.
Sure.
Now, if a house has the term they use is good bones, if it's in the school district that you want, but it needs some tender loving care, then it's not a bad house to get in there and fix that sucker up. Improve it, make it better. You
may have some wiggle room too as far as negotiating.
That's right. Not only on price but on closing costs.
Right.
It makes it a lot easier for the first-time homeowner to buy that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Another story I heard recently is that they're older couple. The husband died. The wife was like 82 years old. She basically, she can't operate on her own. She's going to have to move or lose her home. And she's got a small note on it, but she can't even make the payment, or she's going to struggle to make the payment. And what she needs to do, she needs to sell it. But you go in there and the home's not going to be updated. It's going to have the yellow appliances and the Formica countertops and all that kind of stuff. But that's an opportunity for somebody to buy a home like that and fix it up, modernize it.
Right.
All right, I'm getting a little windy here. Yeah, I'm way over time. What is needed to pre-qualify? Reasonable credit scores, 580 for FHA, 620 for conventional, proof of consistent and stable income for the last 2 years, proof of enough assets to cover the down payment and closing costs. Keep in mind there are options. You should call me if this one for sure. And then qualifying income, I'm not going to go over that. We did it before, but you can see that if you will. And I think that's all I got today, Tim. Thank you for joining me. It's always good to see you, my brother.
No worries.
I'm going to get that UWM information to you so that you can get registered with those.
Appreciate it. Yes, perfect. Thanks, Mike. Great show.
All right, great to see you, Tim. Talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
I'll say that. Yeah, here we go. All right, bye, guys.